I tell people all the time that no beat in the world can ever mean to me what VCU does. I could be covering Real Madrid or Manchester United or the Dallas Cowboys or the Yankees or any of the biggest sports franchises in the world, and I wouldn't have the emotional connection to it that I have to VCU. So I'm the deputy sports editor and the VCU beat writer. I was a part-timer for the first few years when I was there covering local high schools, which I think anyone trying to get into sports journalism start at the high school level. Everyone obviously wants to go, cover professional leagues and major teams and go travel and cover VCU and everything. But I learned so much covering high school sports because I think it's significantly more difficult than covering college and professional sports in many ways. But I did that for a few years and then was hired full-time in February of 2020, a few weeks before the pandemic. So I got my foot in the door right as it slammed shut, which was fortuitous timing. And then was a staff writer for a few years and took over the VCU beat when Wayne Epps moved on in his career, a journalist that I learned an immense amount from. So VCU is my primary beat. Schedule's very dictated by the basketball season when we're in it, and the sports season the rest of the year. In the fall, I'm covering high school football and out at different high schools every Friday night. And then in the spring, I can work on more enterprise stuff while covering some spring sports. So the calendar and the day-to-day is very dictated by the sports schedule. Like today we have the All-Metro banquet that I've got to go speak at and present the team and shake hands and everything, and hand out awards. So it's super variant dependent on the sports season. But on Monday I was in the office out in Hanover and we had a staff meeting and everything. So it's a little all over the place to answer the day-to-day part of the question. I think as anyone in sports journalism will tell you, it is in many ways easier to be emotionally removed from the team that you're covering. So I had to check the homerism, in that first year or so, right? I mean, you've got to find that balance and that equilibrium between being a fan and being a journalist, because you want to develop relationships with coaches and administrators and with athletes and with everyone that you cover. But then you also have to be able to do, the hard news stories. And that can be difficult when you have an emotional connection to the program that you're covering. So I think I've gotten a lot better about that over the last couple years, but that was difficult, especially in that first year covering VCU. So I was waiting in, this is a funny story, I was waiting in line at Canes near the end of my freshman year and had not figured out what I wanted to do. As so many college freshmen are, I was just kind of adjusting to the social life and a new city and a new living space, and I didn't know what I wanted to study yet. And I had extra swipes at the end of the semester, and a girl in front of me in line asked if she could borrow some or use some. And so I swiped food for her, and we were standing in line talking about what we enjoyed and what we were studying, and I told her I wasn't sure what the career trajectory was, but that I loved sports and I loved to write. And someone tapped me on the shoulder in line. I was like, excuse me, I don't want to interrupt y'all, but my name is Bryant Drayton and I'm the sports editor at the Commonwealth Times. I just overheard your conversation that you love sports and you love to write. Would you want to be a contributing writer for me at the CT? And so that was how my journalism career began, and I started writing for Bryant that summer and declared as a journalism major the next year. Gosh, from all 4.5 years, I got to go cover the Atlantic 10 tournament. I think a lot of my Commonwealth Times memories stick out. I mean, Marianne Owens was a really foundational professor for me. And I learned an immense amount in all of my individual classes, but I think most professors will tell you this too, that experiential learning is always going to be the most valuable. And so what I did in Capitol News Service, going to the General Assembly, and everything that I did with the CT, going out and covering games and getting a chance to feel like you're a beat reporter, was amazing. And I remember driving a car with Gabe Huari, who was a staff writer at the CT at the time, and Aaron Edgerton, who was a photographer for a long time, now works at UVA. And we drove from Richmond to West Virginia to go cover the Atlantic 10 tournament. And that was the coolest trip and one of the first big journalistic endeavors that I'd done in that regard. And so that stands out as one of the foundational memories, because we all got to go stay in Pittsburgh and cover the A10 tournament together, and I'd never done anything like that before. I would have been nowhere near prepared for my job without it. I mean, everything from ethics and journalism to, even though I work in print and online journalism, everything that I did in audio video journalism helped prepare me for the multimedia aspect of things, right? You know, have to be a bit of a Swiss Army knife, I think, in today's media landscape. And so getting that diversity of skill sets was enormous for me, even though I went to work for a print newspaper. And from Marianne Owen's class to Jeff South's class, I think that specifically we have a wonderful opportunity here because we're close to the General Assembly, that gerrymandering was my beat for when I was in Capitol News Service, and that was a wonderful, you know, hard news, evolving political topic to be covering at that time, which is obviously still a major topic of conversation around the country these days. And so to be able to kind of, you know, cut my teeth on something like that when I didn't have a whole lot of political reporting experience was invaluable for me. And yeah, I mean, I think I draw on experiences from all of my Robertson School classes, and again, from experiential learning at the CT and going out there and actually covering things in the community. All of those experiences have, you know, provided the pillars of what are my journalistic skill set now. Whenever people ask me why I got into sports journalism, I think about experience early in my life that really stuck with me. My mom's from New Orleans. She took us there not long before Katrina, and we went back after Katrina, and she made sure and drove us through the 9th Ward. And that was like my first experience with seeing mass human suffering firsthand as a child. And my mom's a Saints fan. And when they played their first game back in the Superdome, we weren't there, but we were watching on TV. And I always remembered sitting on her bed and her screaming "Who dat" at the TV, and tears in her eyes and the emotion that filled the Superdome for, you know, the sports franchise that is the flagship entity for that city. They were healing collectively on that night. And I think they beat the Falcons. It was a really bad Saints team, but I don't think any team in the history of football could have come into the Superdome and beat the Saints that night because of the emotion that was filling that building. And I think that was one of my early awakenings to how sports can be a galvanizing force in moments of communal mourning or suffering. And so that was one of those early inspirations for me of wanting to tell those stories and be a sports reporter. And we've had plenty of those in the Richmond area over the years. There was a wide receiver at Deep Run named Gabe Henderson who died in a boating accident. And I always remembered covering Deep Run's games that fall after he passed away, and all of the signs, and the tears and the hugs and the parents and the players and everyone processing that moment on a football field together. And there have been plenty of other examples like that where you're reminded of the power that sports have to unify people in moments of collective trauma. And so that might be a little too specific relative to the question of what's my why, but I think in sports specifically, those are the stories that mean the most to me to tell and the ones that originally inspired me to get into sports journalism.